Welcome to Continuity Quest, where we embark on a journey through time, exploring the threads that weave our past, present, and future together. Each episode, we delve into stories that shape our understanding of the world, from ancient civilizations to modern innovations, and the lessons that guide us forward. Today, we're going to be setting our sights on the majestic rise and dramatic fall of the Inca Empire, a civilization that once thrived in the heart of the Andes. What can their triumphs and tribulations teach us about resilience, adaptation, and the ever-changing landscape of human endeavor? Join us as we uncover the rich tapestry of history and its echoes in our lives today. Let's begin our quest. Imagine standing on a mountaintop, gazing out over a landscape so vast and diverse that it seems to stretch endlessly. Snow-capped peaks pierce the sky, their icy caps glittering in the sunlight. Below, lush valleys cradle the winding rivers that nourish the land. Beyond that, arid deserts meet sprawling forests, where the air is heavy with life. This is the Andes, a place of breathtaking extremes, and it was here that one of the greatest empires in human history arose, the Inca Empire. Or, as it was known by the people, Tawantinsuyu, meaning the four regions. Now let's transport ourselves back in time, about 600 years ago, to a world where the Inca Empire was thriving. Picture a society so advanced, so intricately organized, that it managed to unite over 12 million people from more than 100 distinct ethnic groups. Think about the challenges: rugged mountains, unpredictable weather, and isolated valleys. Yet the Inca overcame these obstacles, creating a network of roads, cities, and agricultural terraces that spanned 2,500 miles, from the lush forests of Colombia to the dry deserts of northern Chile. How did they achieve this? How did they rise from a small, relatively unknown group in the Cusco Valley to become the dominant power in South America? And, just as importantly, what led to their eventual downfall? Over the next little bit, we'll dive deeply into the world of the Inca Empire, exploring its history, culture, innovations, and ultimate confrontation with the Spanish invaders. But before we dive into the story, let's take a moment to understand what makes the Inca Empire so extraordinary. For starters, this civilization was without many of the hallmarks we typically associate with great empires. The Inca Empire had no written language as we know it, no wheels, and no draft animals capable of pulling carts. Despite this, they managed to construct an empire that rivaled, and in many ways surpassed, those of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East during their time. They accomplished this through sheer ingenuity, organization, and a deeply rooted connection to their land and its resources. The Inca were master planners. Their empire was not haphazard patchwork of its territories, but a meticulously organized society. The capital city, Cusco, was designed in the shape of a puma, a sacred animal symbolizing strength and protection. From this central hub, a network of roads stretching over 24,000 miles connected the empire's farthest reaches. These roads were so well constructed that many sections are still in use today. And then there's their architecture. Imagine massive stone structures built without mortar, so precisely fitted that not even a blade of grass could slide between the stones. These buildings have withstood earthquakes that leveled modern constructions. It's a testament to their engineering brilliance. Of course, the Inca were not just builders, they were farmers, astronomers, warriors, and artists. They developed advanced agricultural techniques that turned steep mountainsides into fertile farmland, ensuring a stable food supply for their people. They studied the stars to guide their planting and harvest, creating a calendar that aligned perfectly with the rhythms of nature. They created intricate textiles and ceramics, each piece telling a story about their culture and beliefs. And at the heart of it all was their spiritual worldview, a rich tapestry of myths, rituals, and deities that connected them with the natural world. The Inca worshipped the sun, the moon, and the earth, believing that these celestial bodies had direct influence on their lives. Their emperor, the Sapa Inca, was not just a ruler but a divine figure, a living descendant of the sun god Inti. But the story of the Inca is not just one of triumph and innovation. It's unfortunately also a story of immense tragedy. When the Spanish arrived in the early 16th century, they found an empire at the height of its power, yet within a matter of decades, this mighty civilization crumbled. How could such a strong and sophisticated empire fall so quickly? The answers lie in a combination of internal strife, disease, and the sheer ruthlessness of the Spanish conquest. As we begin this journey, I invite you to imagine yourself walking alongside the Inca. Picture yourself alongside their roads, stepping into their cities, and witnessing their rituals. Imagine the sounds of drums and flutes echoing through the valleys, the sight of farmers tending terraced fields, and the grandeur of Cusco, with its golden temples gleaming in the sunlight. This is more than a history lesson. It's an exploration of a world that still captivates and inspires us today. From the myths of their divine origins to the achievements that defy logic, and finally to their dramatic encounter with the Spanish. The story of the Inca is one of resilience, ingenuity, and enduring human spirit. So let's dive into this world together. Let's uncover the mysteries, celebrate the achievements, and reflect on the lessons of the Inca Empire. Our journey begins right now. To truly understand the Inca Empire, we must begin, well, at the beginning, a time when myths and history intertwine, creating a foundation that shapes not only their identity, but also their destiny. The origins of the Inca are as much a story of legend as they are of historical evolution, and it all begins with their connection to the divine. According to Inca mythology, their ancestors were not ordinary mortals, but the children of gods. The sun god, Inti, gazed down from the heavens and saw a world in disarray. Humanity was fractured, living in ignorance, without structure or purpose. Inti, as a benevolent deity, sought to bring light and order to this chaos. To fulfill this mission, he sent his son, Manco Capac, and his daughter-wife, Mama Okio, to the earth. These divine siblings emerged from the sacred waters of Lake Titicaca, a place the Inca regarded as the very navel of creation. Their mission? To find a place where people could flourish, where they could bring the gifts of civilization, agriculture, social organization, and moral law. Armed with a golden staff, a tool imbued with divine power, they were told to search for a location where the staff would sink effortlessly into the ground. This, Inti promised, would be a sign of fertile land and the future capital of their people. After a long journey, they arrived in the Cusco Valley, where the staff finally disappeared into the earth. Here, they established the city of Cusco, which would grow into the heart of the Inca world. This origin story is not just a myth, it's a reflection of how the Inca understood their place in this world. To them, their empire was not merely a human achievement, but a divine mandate. By claiming descent from the sun god, the Inca rulers, the Sapa Inca, legitimized their authority and reinforced their role as intermediaries between the gods and humanity. But mythology alone doesn't tell the full story. To uncover the historical roots of the Inca, we must look at the broader context of the Andes, a region with a long history of complex civilizations. Before the rise of the Inca, the Andes were a cultural mosaic, home to numerous societies that laid the groundwork for what was to come. Let's go back over 3,000 years to the Chavin culture, one of the earliest known civilizations in the region. Centered around the religious site of Chavin de Huantar, this culture is believed to have played a unifying role, spreading religious and artistic ideas across the Andes. Their influence can still be seen in the intricate designs and ceremonial traditions of later cultures. Then came the Moche, known for their advanced irrigation systems and exquisite pottery. The Moche were master builders, creating monumental structures such as the Huaca del Sol, a massive adobe pyramid. They also left behind a vivid record of their lives through their ceramics, which depict everything from religious rituals to scenes of everyday life. Next, we have the Wari and Tiwanaku civilizations, which flourished from around 500 to 1000 CE. These empires introduced key innovations in governance and urban planning. The Wari, for instance, established a network of administrative centers connected by roads, a precursor to the Inca's own infrastructure. Tiwanaku, located near Lake Titicaca, was a major religious and political hub, known for its impressive stonework and ceremonial practices. The Inca didn't emerge in isolation. They inherited and adapted the achievements of these earlier civilizations, blending them with their unique vision to create something entirely new. By the 12th century, the Inca were a small, relatively obscure group living in the Cusco Valley. They were one of many competing chiefdoms in the Andes, each vying for control over resources and territory. The Cusco Valley itself was a prized location, surrounded by fertile lands and strategically positioned along important trade routes. Early Inca society was organized around a kinship system, with clans known as the Ayas forming the backbone of their community. These Ayas shared land, resources, and labor, creating a mutual sense of obligation and solidarity. This cooperative spirit would later become a defining feature in the Inca Empire, reflecting in their system of collective labor, or mita, as they would call it. Despite their humble beginnings, the Inca had certain advantages that had set them apart. The fertile soil of the Cusco Valley allowed them to establish a stable agricultural base, while their location enabled them to interact with and learn from neighboring cultures. Over time, these factors laid the groundwork for their eventual rise to power. But how did this small group transform into a dominant force? The key lies in their ability to adapt and innovate. The early Inca were not conquerors, they were survivors. They faced frequent threats from rival groups, and their survival depended on their ability to forge alliances, negotiate, and occasionally defend their territory through force. One of their pivotal moments in early history was their encounter with the Chanca people, a powerful rival group posing a significant threat to Cusco. According to legend, the Chanca launched a massive assault on the Inca, forcing many of their leaders to flee. It was during this time that a young prince named Pachacuti stepped forward, rallying the remaining defenders and leading them to a stunning victory. This event marked a turning point in Inca history, setting the stage for the transformation into an empire. The origins of the Inca are a blend of myth and history, reflecting the deep connection to their land and their belief in divine guidance. From their legendary ancestors emerging from the Lake Titicaca to the strategic adaptations in the Cusco Valley, the Inca's early history is a story of resilience, ingenuity, and determination. As we continue our journey, we'll see how these humble beginnings paved the way for the expansion of an empire that would come to dominate the Andes. But for now, let's reflect on the remarkable blend of tradition and innovation that defined the Inca from the very start. They were not merely inheritors of a rich cultural society, they were visionaries who would build upon it and create something extraordinary. The story of the Inca's rise to imperial power is one of transformation. A transition from a small, localized society in the Cusco Valley to a vast empire stretching across the rugged Andes. This expansion wasn't achieved overnight, nor was it a result of brute force alone. It was a calculated process blending military might, political strategy, and cultural integration. Central to this transformation was a visionary leader whose name would echo through history, Pachacuti, the Earthshaker. Pachacuti's ascent to power came at a time of great crisis. In the early 15th century, the Inca were under siege by the Chanca, a formidable rival group intent on conquering Cusco. The Chanca advanced with overwhelming force, and the situation seemed hopeless. The reigning Sapa Inca, Viracocha Inca, along with his designated heir, fled the city, leaving Cusco vulnerable. But Pachacuti, then a young prince, refused to abandon his people. Rallying the remaining defenders, he orchestrated a daring and decisive counterattack. Legend has it that even the stones of Cusco rose to fight on Pachacuti's side, inspired by his determination. With the Chanca defeated, Pachacuti seized the throne and began reshaping the Inca state. This victory wasn't just a military triumph, it marked the beginning of an era of expansion and consolidation. Pachacuti's vision extended far beyond Cusco. He dreamed of an empire that would unite the Andean worlds under a single banner. Over the next few decades, he transformed the Inca into a force to be reckoned with. Pachacuti's strategy for expansion was multifaceted. First and foremost, he relied on military campaigns to subdue neighboring territories. The Inca army, well-trained and highly organized, was a formidable force. Soldiers were recruited from all parts of the empire, creating a diverse and disciplined fighting force. The use of weapons such as slings, clubs, and spears, combined with their ability to navigate the challenging Andean terrain, gave the Inca a distinct advantage in battle. But conquest was only part of the equation. Once a territory was subdued, the Inca employed a policy of integration rather than destruction. Leaders of conquered groups were often allowed to retain their positions, provided they pledged loyalty to the Sapa Inca. These leaders were expected to send tribute to Cusco and participate in the labor tax system, or mita. In return, the Inca brought infrastructure, resources, and a sense of order to the region. This approach not only minimized resistance, but it also allowed the Inca to incorporate diverse cultures into their empire. Forced resettlement was another tool the Inca would use to maintain control. Entire communities were relocated to different parts of the empire, disrupting local power structures and encouraging loyalty to the central government. These resettlements also facilitated the spread of Inca culture, language, and religion, creating a more unified society. It was a system that combined pragmatism with a long-term vision of cohesion. At the heart of the Incas' expansion strategy was their administrative genius. The empire was divided into 4 regions, or suyas, each governed by an appointed official who reported directly to the Sapa Inca. These regions were further subdivided into smaller units, ensuring that every corner of the empire was under efficient supervision. This hierarchical structure allowed the Inca to govern a vast and diverse population with remarkable efficiency. Central to this administrative network was Cusco, the capital and spiritual heart of the empire. Pachacuti transformed Cusco into a symbol of Inca power and unity. And again, the city was laid out in the shape of a puma, an animal revered for its strength and agility. At its center stood the Coricancha, or Temple of the Sun, a magnificent structure adorned with gold and dedicated to Inti, the sun god. Surrounding the city were massive fortresses like Sacsayhuaman, whose colossal stone walls remain a testament to Inca's engineering prowess. Perhaps the most iconic feature of the Inca Empire was its extensive road network. Spanning nearly 25,000 miles, these roads connected even the most remote corners of the empire to Cusco. Built with precision and adapted to the rugged terrain, these roads facilitated trade, communication, and movement of troops. Way stations, or tampas, were strategically placed along these routes, providing rest and supplies for travelers. The chasqui, or relay runners, used these roads to carry messages across the empire with astonishing speed, ensuring the Sapa Inca remained informed of events in distant regions. The road system wasn't just an engineering marvel, it was a symbol of unity and control. It allowed the Inca to project their power across a vast and challenging landscape, reinforcing their presence in every corner of the empire. Whether you were in the highlands of modern-day Ecuador or the coastal deserts of Chile, the roads reminded you that you were a part of Tawantinsuyu, The Four Regions. Pachacuti's reign marked the beginning of a golden age for the Inca. Under his leadership, the empire expanded rapidly, incorporating vast territories and diverse populations. But Pachacuti was not content to rest on his laurels. He understood that true power lay not only in conquest but in consolidation. To this end, he instituted reforms that strengthened the empire's foundations, ensuring its stability for generations to come. One of his most enduring legacies was the codification of Incan laws and customs. By standardizing practices across the empire, he created a sense of order and consistency. He also formalized the worship of Inti, elevating the sun god to a central position in the Inca religion. This reinforced the divine authority of the Sapa Inca and unified the empire under a shared spiritual framework. By the time of Pachacuti's death, the Inca Empire was the largest and most powerful state in the Americas. His successors, including his son Tupac Inca Yupanqui and grandson Huayna Capac, continued his work, pushing the empire's borders even further. By the early 16th century, Tawantinsuyu stretched from modern-day Colombia in the north to Chile in the south, encompassing a diverse array of landscapes, climates, and cultures. The expansion of the Inca Empire was a monumental achievement, a testament to their vision, adaptability, and determination. But as we'll see, the rapid growth came at a cost. While the empire's infrastructure and administrative systems were impressive, they also created vulnerabilities that would be exploited by unforeseen adversary. For now, though, let us marvel at the heights the Inca achieved, transforming a small kingdom in the Andes into one of the greatest empires the world has ever known. To truly understand the Inca Empire, we must step inside the intricate machinery of its society and government. A system as structured and monumental as the stone walls of their cities. The Inca state wasn't just a collection of conquered territories. It was an organized, centralized society that thrived on cooperation, hierarchy, and a shared belief in the divine authority of its ruler. At the top of the hierarchy was the Sapa Inca, the unique Inca, whose authority was absolute. The Sapa Inca wasn't merely a political leader, he was a living god, an earthly representative of Inti, the sun god. Everything in the empire revolved around the Sapa Inca, from governance to religion. His word was law, and his presence commanded awe. To the people, the Sapa Inca was not just a ruler, he was the living embodiment of Tawantinsuyu itself. The royal family surrounded the Sapa Inca, and their roles were significant in maintaining the state's stability. His primary wife, often referred to as the Koya, wielded considerable influence and was usually chosen from within the royal lineage to maintain the purity of divine bloodlines. Below them was a sophisticated bureaucracy, an administrative structure so advanced that it allowed the Inca to govern millions of people across diverse terrains and cultures. The administrative organization of the Inca Empire was nothing short of remarkable. Tawantinsuyu, the land of the four regions, was divided into four suyas: Chinchasuyu in the north, Antisuyu in the east, Koyasuyu in the south, and Kuntasuyu in the west. Each suyu was divided into provinces called Wamani, each governed by officials who reported up the chain of command. This hierarchical system ensured that the Sapa Inca's will reached even the most remote villages. At the heart of this structure was a system of reciprocal obligation, which bound the rulers and the ruled together in a network of mutual dependency. The people provided labor and tribute to the state, while the state in turn provided security, infrastructure, and resources. This system was epitomized by the labor tax known as mita. Every able-bodied citizen was required to contribute their labor to state projects, such as building roads, farming state lands, and serving in the military. In return, the state redistributed resources, particularly during times of hardship, ensuring that no one was left behind. This system of labor taxation wasn't just practical, it was deeply symbolic. It reinforced the idea that every citizen was part of the larger whole, contributing to and benefiting from the collective strength of the empire. It was an embodiment of Aini, the Andean principle of reciprocity, which was a cornerstone of Inca society. One of the most fascinating aspects of Inca administration was their approach to record keeping. Without a written language, the Inca relied on an ingenious system of knotted strings known as quipu. These quipu were used to record everything from census data to agricultural yields, military logistics, and even historical events. The cords were made from cotton or camelid fibers, and the placement, color, and type of knots carried specific meanings. While the exact workings of the quipu remain a mystery to modern scholars, there is no doubt that they were a vital tool for managing the empire. Quipu readers, known as quipu kamayaks, were highly trained specialists who could interpret and create these intricate records. Their skills were indispensable in an empire where efficient communication and resource management were essential to maintaining control over vast territories. At the core of Inca society was the Ayu, a kinship-based community that served as the basic social and economic unit. Members of the Ayu worked collectively to farm, herd animals, and produce goods, pooling their resources to ensure mutual survival. Each Ayu was led by a Karaka, or chief, who acted as a mediator between the community and the state. The Karaka was responsible for organizing labor contributions and distributing resources, making them an essential link in the chain of governance. The Ayu system was deeply tied to the Andean concept of reciprocity. Within an Ayu, members supported one another in times of need, whether by sharing food, labor, or shelter. This communal spirit extended to the relationship with the state. By contributing to state projects, Ayu members ensured that their community would receive support if it needed it, creating a sense of shared purpose and collective identity. The role of religion in Inca society cannot be overstated. It permeated every aspect of life, shaping their worldview, governance, and daily practices. The Inca believed that their empire was divinely ordained, with the Sapa Inca serving as a bridge between the human and spiritual realms. Inti, the sun god, was the most important deity, symbolizing life, fertility, and power. Temples dedicated to Inti, such as the Coricancha and Cusco, were centers of worship and pilgrimage adorned with gold to reflect the brilliance of the sun. Other important deities included Pachamama, the earth goddess, Viracocha, the creator god, and Iapa, the god of thunder and rain. The Inca also venerated sacred mountains, or apus, believing that these towering peaks were inhabited by powerful spirits. Rituals and ceremonies were held to honor these deities and ensure the prosperity of the empire. Sacrifices, both human and animal, were performed during important events such as agricultural festivals, military victories, and natural disasters. These acts were seen as necessary to maintain balance and harmony between humans and the divine realms. Inca society was remarkably cohesive, thanks in large part to their emphasis on shared values and collective responsibility. Yet, this unity was also maintained through strict social hierarchies and discipline. While the Sapa Inca and the nobility enjoyed their privileges and wealth, they were also expected to set an example of devotion and leadership. Commoners, though restricted in their opportunities, found security in their structured order in the Inca society, knowing that their contributions were recognized and valued. By blending efficiency with a profound sense of communal responsibility, the Inca created a society that was both resilient and adaptable. It was a system that allowed them to thrive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth, transforming the rugged Andes into a foundation of a great empire. However, as we'll come to see, even this intricate and well-ordered system was not immune to the pressures of internal strife and external threats. The Inca Empire was a civilization of remarkable ingenuity, creativity, and resilience. Despite the harsh conditions of the Andean highlands, the Inca accomplished extraordinary feats that stand as a testament to their ingenuity. From monumental architecture to agricultural innovations, their accomplishments not only supported a vast and diverse population, but also left a legacy that continues to inspire awe and wonder to this day. Let us begin with one of their most iconic accomplishments, architecture. The Inca were master builders, and their stonework remains unparalleled. They constructed cities, temples, and fortresses with massive stone blocks that fit together so precisely that not even a blade of grass could slide between them. What's truly remarkable is that these structures were built without the use of mortar. Instead, these stones were carefully cut and shaped, ensuring a perfect fit. This technique, known as ashlar masonry, made their buildings highly resistant to earthquakes, a crucial feature in the seismically active Andes. Take, for example, the magnificent site of Machu Picchu. Nestled high in the mountains at nearly 8,000 feet above sea level, this royal estate exemplifies the Inca ability to harmonize architecture with nature. Machu Picchu is more than just a collection of stone buildings, it's a masterpiece of urban planning. The site includes architecture terraces, ceremonial plazas, residential areas, and even sophisticated drainage systems to manage heavy rains of the region. Each structure is strategically positioned to align with astronomical events, reflecting the Incas' deep understanding of the cosmos. But Machu Picchu is just one of many examples. The fortress of Sacsayhuaman, overlooking Cusco, features some of the largest stones ever used in Inca construction, with some weighing over 100 tons. The precision of which these massive stones were carved and fitted together is astounding, especially when you consider that the Inca lacked metal tools as advanced as those of other civilizations. They relied on tools made from harder stones, as well as ingenuity and labor to achieve these feats. But the Inca were not only master builders, they were exceptional engineers. Their road network, known as the Capac Ñan, was a marvel of transportation infrastructure. Spanning nearly 25,000 miles, this network connected even the most remote corners of the empire. The roads traversed mountains, valleys, deserts, and forests, often clinging to sheer cliffs or crossing rivers with suspension bridges made from woven plant fibers. These roads were essential for communication, trade, and military movement, enabling the Inca to maintain control over vast territory. Along the roads, they built tampas, or way stations, at regular intervals. These served as rest stops for travelers, storage facilities for supplies, and administrative centers for local officials. Chasquis, the empire's highly trained messengers, used the road network to deliver messages and goods at remarkable speed. By running in relays, these chasquis could cover up to 150 miles a day, ensuring that news and orders from the Sapa Inca reached even the furthest provinces without delay. The Incas' achievements extended far beyond architecture and engineering. They were also pioneers in agriculture. Living in one of the world's most challenging environments, they developed innovative techniques to make the most of their land. Terrace farming, for instance, was a cornerstone of agricultural success. These terraces, built into steep mountainsides, prevented soil erosion, conserved water, and expanded arable land. Each terrace was carefully designed with a drainage system to prevent flooding, demonstrating the Incas' deep understanding of their environment. The diversity of crops cultivated by the Inca was equally impressive. They grew potatoes, maize, quinoa, and other crops adapted to the varying altitudes of the Andes. Potatoes in particular were a staple of their diet, and they cultivated hundreds of varieties. They also developed methods to store food for long periods, such as freeze-drying potatoes to make chuño, a lightweight, durable food source that could be stored for years. This innovation ensured food security and allowed the Inca to sustain their population even during times of drought or conflict. The Inca were also skilled in textiles, metallurgy, and medicine. Their textiles, woven from alpaca or llama wool, were among the finest in the world. They used natural dyes to create vibrant colors and intricate patterns, with each design carrying symbolic meaning. Clothing was an important marker of status, with the Sapa Inca and the nobility wearing garments adorned with gold and feathers. In metallurgy, the Inca crafted tools, weapons, and ceremonial objects from bronze, silver, or gold. While these metals were highly valued for their beauty and symbolic significance, they also served practical purposes. For example, bronze tools were used in construction and farming, while silver and gold objects were used in religious rituals to honor the gods. In the field of medicine, the Inca demonstrated advanced knowledge and techniques. They practiced trepanation, a form of skull surgery to treat head injuries, a necessity in a society that often engaged in warfare. Remarkably, evidence suggests that many patients survived these procedures, indicating a high level of skill and understanding of anatomy. They also used a wide range of medicinal plants to treat ailments, from coca leaves for pain management and quinine for fevers, a precursor to modern treatments for malaria. The Incas' holistic approach to health extended to their spiritual practices as well. Illness was often seen as a disruption of balance between the human and divine realms, and priests played a crucial role in healing, performing rituals to restore harmony and appease the gods. Perhaps one of the most profound achievements of the Inca was their ability to create a unified society from such diverse cultural and geological landscapes. They achieved this through a combination of military strength, diplomatic alliances, and cultural integration. Conquered people were encouraged to adopt the Quechua language and Inca religious practices, but their local customs and traditions were often respected and incorporated into the larger framework of the empire. This approach fostered a sense of belonging and loyalty, enabling the Inca to maintain stability across their vast territory. The Incas' achievements are a testament to their resilience, creativity, and ability to adapt to their environment. Next, let's look a little bit into their spiritual and cultural foundations, delving into the beliefs and practices that shaped their identity and guided their actions. At the heart of the Inca civilization lay a rich tapestry of religion and culture, intricately woven into every aspect of daily life. For the Inca, spirituality was not a separate domain, but a fundamental force that permeated their world. Their beliefs shaped how they governed, how they worked, celebrated, and even fought wars. It's no exaggeration to say that the Inca Empire was as much a spiritual undertaking as it was a political or military one. The Inca pantheon was vast and deeply interconnected with the natural world. At its center was Inti, the sun god and primary deity of the Inca religion. Inti was not just a celestial figure, but a source of life and power, believed to govern the cycles of day and night, the growth of crops, and the prosperity of the empire. As the child of the sun, the Sapa Inca was considered Inti's earthly representative, a divine ruler whose authority was derived directly from the heavens. But the Inca spiritual landscape extended far beyond Inti. Viracocha, the creator god, held a position of great importance. According to Inca mythology, Viracocha brought the world into existence, shaping the earth, sky, and seas, and breathing life into humanity. Unlike Inti, who was primarily associated with the empire's prosperity, Viracocha's influence was more universal, embodying the principles of creation and order. Other deities represented the various forces of nature and elements of the Andean environment. Pachamama, or Mother Earth, was revered as the provider of sustenance, fertility, and balance. Farmers made offerings to Pachamama before planting crops, seeking her blessing for a bountiful harvest. Similarly, Mamacocha, the goddess of the sea, was honored by those who lived along the coast, ensuring safe journeys and abundant fishing. Even the mountains themselves were considered sacred. Known as the Apus, these towering peaks were thought to be homes of spirits who watched over the lands and its people. Each community had its own Apu, a guardian spirit to whom they offered prayers and sacrifices. This deep reverence for nature fostered a sense of connection and responsibility, encouraging the Inca to live in harmony with their environment. Rituals and ceremonies were central to Inca religious practice. Sacrifices, both material and human, were performed to honor the gods and ensure their favor. While human sacrifice is often associated with brutality, it's important to understand its cultural context. For the Inca, these sacrifices were acts of profound devotion, believed to maintain the cosmic balance and prevent disaster. The individuals chosen for these rituals, often children, were regarded as sacred and were treated with great care and reverence. One of the significant rituals was the Inti Raymi, or Festival of the Sun. Celebrated during the winter solstice, this event marked the beginning of the new agricultural year. Thousands of people gathered in Cusco to participate in days of feasting, music, and dancing, culminating in ceremonies led by the Sapa Inca himself. Offerings of food, textiles, and gold were presented to Inti, and fires were rekindled using sunlight concentrated through a golden disk. This festival was both a spiritual and social occasion, reinforcing the unity of the empire and its connection to the divine. The role of priests and religious officials in Inca society was paramount. These individuals acted as intermediaries between the gods and humanity, performing rituals, interpreting omens, and ensuring the spiritual well-being of the empire. Temples in the Coricancha and Cusco served as centers for religious activity. The Coricancha dedicated to Inti was a marvel of architecture and artistry, with its walls lined in gold to reflect the sun's rays. Priests in these sacred spaces conducted ceremonies to honor the gods, using offerings and prayers to maintain cosmic harmony. Inca religion also emphasized the concept of Aini, or reciprocity. This principle extended to all aspects of life, including spirituality. The Inca believed that balance and harmony were essential, not just among humans, but also between humanity and the gods. Offerings were seen as a part of this reciprocal relationship. Humans gave to the gods, and the gods provided in return. The Inca reverence for their ancestors was another cornerstone of their culture. Ancestor worship was deeply ingrained in their society, with mummification playing a critical role. The mummies of rulers and other prominent figures were treated as living entities, consulted on important decisions, and included in ceremonial events. These mummies, known as maquillas, were housed in sacred spaces and cared for by dedicated attendants. This practice extended beyond rulers to ordinary families, who kept the remains of their ancestors in household shrines. Ancestors were seen as protectors and guides, and their presence reinforced familial bonds and cultural continuity. Even after death, individuals were thought to remain part of the community, shaping its destiny and offering spiritual support. In addition to their religious beliefs, the Inca expressed their culture through art, music, and storytelling. Their textiles were among the finest in the ancient world, not only for their craftsmanship, but also because of their symbolic meaning. Patterns and colors in Inca textiles conveyed messages about social status, lineage, and religious identity. Music, too, played an important role in Inca culture, with instruments like panpipes and drums accompanying rituals, celebrations, and daily activities. Storytelling was a vital tradition, preserving the history, myths, and other values of the Inca people. Without a written language, these oral narratives were the primary means of transmitting knowledge from one generation to the next. Through these stories, the Incas shared their understanding of the world, their triumphs, and their struggles, ensuring that their legacy would endure. As we step into the final chapter of Inca Empire's rise and fall, we must address the seismic collision of two worlds: the thriving civilization of Tawantinsuyu and the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors in the early 16th century. This was not merely a clash of arms, but a profound encounter between vastly different cultures, beliefs, and ambitions. The story begins in 1526, when Spanish explorers led by Francisco Pizarro first glimpsed the northern edges of the Inca Empire. At the time, the Spanish were in the throes of an age of exploration, driven by a hunger of wealth, glory, and the spread of Christianity. The news of an immensely wealthy empire in the Andes, teeming with gold and silver, ignited their imaginations. For the Inca, however, these strange arrivals were at first little more than an anomaly, unfamiliar but not yet perceived as a threat. The timing of the Spanish arrival proved critical. Unbeknownst to the conquistadors, the Inca Empire was already weakened from within. A devastating epidemic, likely smallpox, had swept through the Andes, decimating the population and claiming the life of the reigning Sapa Inca, Huayna Capac, around 1526. The loss of their ruler plunged the empire into turmoil, triggering a bitter and protracted civil war between Huayna Capac's sons, Atahualpa Capac and Huáscar. Atahualpa commanding an army in the northern city of Quito. By the time Atahualpa emerged victorious in 1532, the empire was exhausted, its resources drained, and its cohesion shattered. It was into this fractured and vulnerable landscape that Pizarro and his small band of conquistadors arrived. Numbering fewer than 200 men, They were vastly outnumbered by the millions of Inca subjects. Yet, they brought with them advantages that would prove decisive: steel weapons, horses, and firearms, technologies unknown in the Andes. Perhaps most significantly, they wielded the power of psychological warfare, exploiting the Incas' lack of familiarity with their tactics and their intentions. Pizarro's first major encounter with Atahualpa occurred in the town of Cajamarca in November of 1532. Atahualpa, confident in his position as a ruler and dismissive of the tiny Spanish force, arrived with thousands of unarmed retainers. What happened next would change the course of history. Under the guise of diplomacy, launched a surprise attack, slaughtering Atahualpa's entourage and capturing the emperor himself. The Battle of Cajamarca, if it can be called a battle, was a one-sided massacre. Within hours, the Inca were left leaderless and in shock. Atahualpa's capture marked the beginning of the end of the Inca Empire. Held prisoner by Pizarro, the Sapa Inca attempted to secure his release through a negotiation. In one of history's most famous ransoms, Atahualpa promised to fill the room with gold and 2 rooms with silver, enough to astound even the wealth-hungry conquistadors. Over the next months, Inca subjects brought treasures from across the empire, fulfilling the ransom and creating staggering displays of wealth. Yet despite receiving this immense fortune, the Spanish had no intention of freeing Atahualpa. They understood the power he wielded as a symbol of Inca unity. In 1533, after a sham trial, Atahualpa was executed, leaving the empire without its central figure. His death was not only a personal tragedy, but a blow to the spiritual and political heart of Tawantinsuyu. Following Atahualpa's death, the Spanish moved swiftly to consolidate their control. They marched into Cusco, the Inca capital, encountering sporadic resistance but ultimately overpowering the weakened defenders. In November 1533, the city fell to the conquistadors, marking the symbolic end of the Inca Empire. Pizarro installed a puppet ruler, Manco Inca, in an attempt to maintain stability and control the population. However, the story did not end there. Manco Inca, though initially cooperative, soon led a rebellion against the Spanish in 1536. Retreating to the remote fortress of Vilcabamba, he established a neo-Inca state that resisted Spanish rule for several decades. This resistance was a testament to the resilience and determination of the Inca people, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Yet resistance could not hold back the tide of change. Over time, the Spanish solidified their grip on the Andes, exploiting its resources and imposing their culture and religion. The Inca elite were marginalized, their institutions dismantled, and traditions suppressed. The introduction of European diseases, forced labor, social upheaval caused a precipitous decline in the indigenous population, further eroding the fabric of the Andean society. For the Inca, the arrival of the Spanish not only marked the end of their empire, but marked the beginning of a new and often painful chapter in their history. However, their story does not end with conquest. The cultural and spiritual legacy of the Inca has endured, surviving centuries of colonization and repression. As we reflect on this collision of civilizations, it's important to recognize the complexity of the events that unfolded. The Spanish conquest was not solely a story of military superiority, it was also a tale of timing, opportunism, and the exploitation of existing divisions in the Incan society. At the same time, it was a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the Andean people, who preserved their traditions and identity even in the face of immense change. The story of the Inca is far from over, and their impact can still be felt in the modern Andes and beyond. As we begin to conclude our journey through the rise and fall of the Inca Empire, it's essential to look beyond its collapse and recognize the enduring legacy of this remarkable civilization. Although the empire itself fell to the Spanish conquistadors, the influence of the Inca endures in ways both profound and subtle, shaping the cultural, spiritual, and physical landscapes of the Andes, and resonating far beyond. The Inca Empire, or Tawantinsuyu, may have been dismantled, but its memory remains a cornerstone of Andean identity. From the language spoken by millions to the intricate patterns of textiles, the spirit of the Inca continues to echo through time. To understand this legacy is to understand how a civilization can transcend conquest and remain an integral part of the human story. Let's start with language. a vital thread connecting the past to the present. Although the Spanish imposed their language on the Andes, Quechua was the language of the Inca. It survived and remains vibrant today. Spoken by roughly 10 million people across South America, Quechua is more than just a means of communication. It's a living link to the Inca world. In Quechua, you can still hear the echoes of the ancient stories, traditions, and philosophies that have been passed down through the generations. Consider the Quechua word ayu, a term that encapsulates the idea of community, cooperation, and mutual support. This concept was at the very heart of the Inca society, and it continues to guide the way that many people in the Andean communities today organize their lives. By preserving their language, the descendants of the Inca have kept alive the values and wisdom that once unified an empire. Another powerful reminder of the Inca legacy is found in the stunning landscapes of the Andes, where their ingenuity remains etched into the very earth. Terraces, irrigation canals, and agricultural fields, many still in use today, stand as monuments to the Incas' ability to adapt to their challenging environment. These terraces, carved into steep mountainsides, not only prevented soil erosion, but created microclimates that allowed for the cultivation of diverse crops. Modern farmers in the Andes continue to rely on these ancient systems, growing potatoes, quinoa, maize, and other staples just as their ancestors did. The Inca agricultural innovations were so advanced that they've inspired contemporary scientists seeking solutions to global food security challenges. For example, the diversity of Andean potatoes, numbering in the thousands, offers insights into cultivating crops that can withstand climate change and disease. And then there are the monumental achievements of the Inca architecture. Structures like Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuaman, and Ollantaytambo are more than tourist destinations. They are testaments to human ingenuity and vision. These sites reveal an extraordinary understanding of engineering, astronomy, and aesthetics. The precision of their stonework, designed to withstand earthquakes, remains unparalleled. Machu Picchu, often referred to as the lost city of the Incas, is a particularly potent symbol of the Incas' enduring legacy. Nestled high in the Andes, this UNESCO World Heritage Site continues to captivate the world with its mystery and beauty. It is a place where visitors can glimpse the harmony the Inca achieved between human creation and the natural world. Every year, millions of people travel to Machu Picchu, drawn by its history and undeniable spiritual resonance. But the legacy of the Inca isn't confined to physical artifacts or language. It lives in the cultural traditions and spiritual practices that have survived centuries of colonization and change. Many Andean festivals today incorporate elements of Inca rituals, blending them with Catholic influences introduced by the Spanish. One such example is the Inti Raymi, the Festival of the Sun. Celebrated in Cusco every June, this vibrant event honoring the sun god Inti was revived in the 20th century as a way of reconnecting with Inca heritage. Similarly, Andean cosmology, with its reverence for Pachamama, or Mother Earth, continues to shape the way people interact with the environment. Rituals to honor Pachamama, offering coca leaves, chicha, and other gifts, reflects a worldview that sees humanity as an interconnected whole. This perspective, rooted in Inca beliefs, offers valuable lessons for a world grappling with environmental challenges. The resilience of the Inca spirit is also evident in the arts. Traditional Andean textiles, with their vibrant colors and intricate patterns, are more than just beautiful creations. They are a form of storytelling. Each design carries meaning, reflecting the weaver's community, history, and beliefs. This art form, passed down through generations, serves as a living archive of Incan culture. Similarly, Andean music, with instruments like the pan flute and the charango, evokes the rhythms of the past while continuing to evolve in modern context. Even in the academic world, the Inca legacy has inspired generations of researchers, historians, and archaeologists. The rediscovery of sites like Machu Picchu in the early 20th century sparked global interest in Inca civilization, leading to a deeper understanding of their achievements and contributions. Today, ongoing archaeological work continues to uncover new insights. From the sophistication of their road systems to the complexity of the quipu, these discoveries not only deepen our appreciation for the Inca, but also challenge us to reconsider assumptions about what the ancient civilizations could achieve. And finally, The legacy of the Inca can be seen in the pride and resilience of the Andean people themselves. Despite centuries of oppression and marginalization, indigenous communities across South America have preserved their traditions, languages, and ways of life. In recent years, there has been a resurgence of interest in Inca heritage, with efforts to reclaim and celebrate indigenous identity. This cultural revival is a testament to the enduring power of the Inca's legacy, a legacy that continues to inspire and empower. The story of the Inca Empire is one of brilliance, of tragedy, resilience, and transformation. Though their empire fell, their achievements endure, reminding us of the heights that humanity can reach. The Incas' innovations in governance, agriculture, architecture, and culture have left an incredible mark on the world, offering lessons and inspiration for generations to come. As we reflect on their legacy, we are reminded that the rise and fall of civilizations are a part of a larger human story, one of adaptation, connection, and the pursuit of meaning. The Inca, with their boundless creativity and vision, remain a shining example of what is possible when we strive to live in harmony with each other and with the world around us. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the history of the Inca Empire. Their story is far from over, and I encourage you to continue exploring their legacy, whether by visiting the Andes, studying their culture, or simply reflecting on the lessons they have to offer. Until next time, may the spirit of the Inca encourage you to reach new heights.